So welcome back, our
Oh, yo.
faithful Take Flight listeners. We are happy to have you for our last episode of 2021. And what a wild year it's been with the pandemic, with cryptocurrencies, with the lockdowns, with the UK government. But anyway, we're here. We're back with another episode. So in this episode, we're going to discuss a topic that stays on the previous theme that we discussed when we last sat as a four, and that was talking about the metaverse. We will entertain in this episode the idea of receiving a portion of our salary in cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin, and the benefits and drawbacks that could pose. We also discuss much more. If you enjoyed the episode on the metaverse or want to know more about cryptocurrencies, sit back, listen, and enjoy the ride for 2021.
Take off, take flight with you. For we never fly, but we're flying.
So, without further ado, how is everyone doing? P, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. We just we picked up the keys to our new apartment today, so we're moving this week. And it's just incredible to be in a new space with the family. Karim's happy, Lauren's super happy. So we are I'm a bit tired because obviously doing some moving today. But yeah, good, all good. It's gonna be a great holiday. Looking forward to it. I think the rest has been earned.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I know the rest has been earned.
How's the knee, by the way?
I knew that was coming. Nah, the left knee strong. The left knee strong.
Just for the listeners to know, unless you're not aware of it, P has been on his skipping game again recently, so it's good to just check in to see how it's all holding up.
With skipping game with the red lights. What's the red lights about? Trying to understand the red lights.
So before 9 a.m. and after 7 a.m. we use the red lights or blue lights or whatever color lights we got. We don't use these lights here.
For a second.
So why red light? Because sometimes it's like that can signify something else from the outside of a.
What can it signify?
I thought I clicked on an OnlyFans link and I saw P.
What are you man talking about?
I saw P skipping in red lights. I was like, "Whoa, who is this?"
No. It's just yes. You can have these lights. You can just function with different colors.
So can people from outside see the color of the lights?
Yeah, it's a light, isn't it? I don't get the joke.
In your own time.
Okay, so
Google Amsterdam red light. And you
red lights.
Yeah.
How do you guys put the red light with the skipping and I don't understand this.
Because that's what it's known for.
It's just me it's just me skipping.
But that's where your mind goes. Okay, wait, question then. Whilst you've been skipping, have you ever had knocks on the door?
Oh,
no, it's
but all good,
yeah,
right? All good, people. All good, all healthy.
No, all good. I didn't see that joke coming. So it's
just.
I didn't see how that was viewed from the outside looking in.
Just be careful when you move to a new apartment, yeah, because they might think, oh, new people on the block.
No,
okay.
it's actually no. In all seriousness, and I need to go and do the further reading, but it's actually more of, I think it's better for your eyes if you have a low, I think, getting of light in the evenings and the mornings, right? So these lights are way too bright. So that was actually why we got it. And in the end, I got an option that had multiple different colors. So, but the red is obviously my favorite color.
Alexa, turn living room light 1 red.
I was gonna do the same thing.
Alexa, turn living room light 2 red.
Alexa, study light red.
Oh, I actually have it. Let's see if I can connect it. Go to the next person. Shuo, how are you?
So why are you guys making jokes about red lights? You guys,
because I don't use the red light like you.
No, I use it like every day. It's really good.
Mate, it seems like Daniel's setup is a bit more crisper than yours, Ollie. The way.
I'll share the article that speaks about the benefit of different lighting at different times of the day.
Okay.
Glad to hear the knees holding up here. It's looking strong.
Listen, you guys need to stop this knee business because You see me? Listen. Listen, my knees are probably stronger than all of you guys. Like I'm thinking, at some point in time now, this is going on for too long. It's because
Oh my god.
I think what we need to do at some point, we need to share some of the stories that Shuo's seen me in with regards to my knees. That's why it's always him coming with it. Anyways,
That's in the
Sure,
lockup.
how are you?
yeah, sure.
I'm
How
good,
are you?
man. I'm good. Back home for Christmas.
Guys are
Yeah, all
killing me,
good.
man.
Good. No knees locking here. No, all good. All good. Family's good. Got my mortgage approved for the new family home for next year, so I got that
Come on.
confirmation today.
Come on.
Congratulations.
Congrats, bro.
That'd be a good celebration for the family in the new year. But you know, all good. Trying to give myself the space to have some time off, but then you know you got used to kind of working and doing things that now suddenly actually in giving myself intentional rest and intentional space is actually taking a conscious effort actually.
Yeah, I can't relate. No, I'm looking forward to the break.
No, but I'm looking forward to the break. I'm also planning to travel and yeah, hopefully catch up with some of you guys in person in London before the closeout of the year. But overall good in a good space. Olu, how you doing?
Great. Holiday period is a great time to reflect and also spend time with family. So looking forward to Christmas with the family, the nephews, mom, brothers, etc. It's going to be a great time. Slowing down work-wise. Still closing a few deals. It feels like that side doesn't end. But life is good, man. It's a great time to reflect and think about the opportunities for the next year, which hopefully will involve more traveling. So Bali,
I'm
2022.
still waiting for that. But if that Bali trip doesn't happen next year, Olu, I never want to hear about it again.
Oh, for sure. It's definitely going to happen next year. For sure.
And Daniel, so how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been the first few days of holiday, which I was saying to someone, I feel a bit lost because I haven't really had this time to switch off and not travel. Well, the last time I switched off, I was traveling. The last time I switched off properly, I was traveling, but I still was logging into email. And then the last time I had a week off, I ended up taking maybe 2.5 days off because I was going to do some work. But now I'm in a situation where I haven't got any access to my emails, so I'm forced to relax and recharge.
What am I hearing? I'm hearing that you guys are struggling to take time off and relax. Should be easy.
I'll be honest with you, I think
you had a good year, a strong year. Switch off.
I think the pandemic's changed my work ethic. Has changed me into almost finding it difficult at times to switch off, if I'm honest with you. Like in the evenings it's fine, but then I end up on days off, I will check my email. When I'm working, like Monday to Friday, I'm cool. But then when I'm off, I will check. When in weekends, I will check. And no one's messaging me, but I just feel the urge to check and to try and stay on top of things. But now I'm forced to sort of just relax and do life admin and other life things. So it's helping to some degree. But I also feel I get tired a lot quicker in the late morning. Yeah, but all good other than that. So for this episode, I'm gonna provide some context, give a bit of background before we share some ideas. So as I mentioned, keeping on the adjacent theme of the metaverse and all that it brings, it's been a wild ride this year in the world of crypto, or cryptoland as I call it at times. Many cryptocurrencies reached their all-time highs, such as Bitcoin surpassing around the 69,000 mark. Venezuela even adopted Bitcoin as a legal tender in September and have allowed its citizens to even pay their taxes using Bitcoin. The president often tweets "buy the dip," usually trying to create some sort of a buying a bullish market. New York's newly elected mayor Eric Adams said he wants his first 3 paychecks in Bitcoin. Many football players, when I say football, not American football, and I'm not going to say soccer, I mean football players in the MLS and sports stars in the US are now taking a portion of their salaries in cryptocurrency. The ability to be paid in crypto isn't available in the UK, well, not yet anyway, but we'll be discussing maybe how would our approach to it be if we were allowed and afforded that opportunity. So with all that said, and us being more receptive of investing in cryptocurrencies, as you've heard in the last few episodes of the podcast, do we really believe its value to the extent that we would allow a portion of our salary to be paid in a form of cryptocurrency. I'm going to start off with someone who's dramatically and drastically changed their views on investing in the last couple of months, and that's UP. So to start off with, yeah, you know it's coming.
Tell me why. Okay, go ahead.
No. I say you because I know traditionally you've always been property versus stocks or property, and then it came, some equities, and then you're talking about maybe just selling out all your whole portfolio in equities or a large portion of it and going all in crypto. So, how would your approach be if you were allowed or given opportunity?
Now, just to be clear for the listeners, when I was defending property, I had stocks in the background. I just had to take a position, So, just wanted to make that known. Otherwise, I get branded as this property guy and has no ideas about stocks, like Olu tries to paint me as. But yeah, no. So I've got an opinion on this with regards to what personally I would do, and actually thinking about this for listeners and maybe the average person, because this is actually quite a topic. So, me personally, with my understanding of the history of money and just having maybe an investor's mindset, I would take a portion of my salary in Bitcoin. And the key word there, the operating word there is a portion. And I think it's because it's this whole play around, it's what we know about how equity works, right? And so it's my salary is a fixed payment, every 4 weeks based on my contracted hours. And that doesn't change. Whereas the opportunity to invest in something like Bitcoin is the opportunity to grow wealth, and it's connected to, the markets in that sense. So I think for me, it would be also a way to learn more about Bitcoin. It's like this pull mechanism, and the whole idea of just attaching, my work from the ability to create wealth is something that is attracted to me. So I would certainly take a portion of my salary in Bitcoin.
And okay, cool. And to putting you on the spot, what kind of percentage allocation are you referring to, or what would you consider?
So I'd probably, without thinking too deep, 20%. 20% sounds. I would take a 20% split, and I'll just basically figure out how to live on the 80%, and see what happens with that 20%. But I think there's an opportunity, because I know we're talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies very special, but I take a step back and look at it from a macro perspective and think to myself, it's a little bit like someone giving you an opportunity to invest in a stock at the beginning of your career, right? And would you have taken that? And we know what the difference. You talk about, like, what separates billionaires from millionaires. It's that equity, right? The millions is based on work. The billions is based on your equity positions. So that's just my line of thinking.
Okay. Sure. How about you?
So I thought this was a great question to ask, Daniel, and I think it really sets us up for a good discussion. I think for me, I'm in the camp where I would say yes. So I would take salary in Bitcoin, not all of it. I even thought about the percentages as well beforehand. I probably thought maybe 1/3. I would give it a try, because fiat currencies and the currencies that we're all getting, we know that inflation, especially at the moment, and Daniel's done a great takeaway episode, by the way, for the listeners on inflation, so that's worth checking back in case you haven't listened to it. But inflation is something that is impacting all these fiat currencies. So this is always going to be a depreciating asset the second it gets into your bank account. Whereas with Bitcoin, from what we've understood about it, and Daniel, you're probably in a better position than all of us, we're probably at the early stages, even still now, of something that will really transform the way that money is transferred and used and as a utility in the world. So to get a portion of your salary in something that has the room to appreciate in value versus cash, which probably won't, I think is good. And I think in our case, we've spoken about it in quite a lot of episodes extensively, that we are all investing our cash anyway. So even if we get it in cash, it's not staying in cash for very long. It's being transferred and converted into a real asset very quickly. But I think in this case, this is why I would still like to have at least 2/3 of that cash to invest that in other areas, and have maybe a third in Bitcoin. I know your question, Daniel, was actually probably broader across other cryptocurrencies. I would hesitate with other cryptocurrencies, but I think Bitcoin, with it becoming as established as it has done, with as many stakeholders as it has got now, I would be happy to do it in 1/3. And I think similar to what P was saying, if I could get my salary income now as a certain percentage in the company stock, would I take it? I probably would, actually. We're not given that option. We're given that option in terms of our annual bonus. But then the monthly salary, again, you get the option of getting your income in an appreciating or an asset that could potentially appreciate. So yeah, so my answer would be yes. It would be partial, and it would be specifically Bitcoin in this case.
Okay, yeah, I think I used the Bitcoin as an example because it's often referred to as digital gold. So Bitcoin is the established cryptocurrency that Satoshi Nakamoto released a white paper on 31st of October 2008. And I think the first Bitcoin was mined in 2009, if I'm not incorrect. So and all the other coins, when we refer to, just a bit of background for everyone who's listening who may be new to crypto, is an altcoin, which often you hear altcoins. An altcoin is anything other than Bitcoin. So ETH or Ether, which is the coin that runs on the Ethereum network, and all the other coins that you've heard of are termed altcoins. But yeah, so I use Bitcoin because it's termed digital gold. But Olu, how about you? What would your position be? What would your stance be? Yes, no.
I'm gonna go at this question kind of different, because I think I agree with P and Shawal in regards to portion of my net worth will be in cryptocurrency or should be in cryptocurrency. But I think more looking at your question in regards to, would I trade my salary for cryptocurrency? I would go with the answer no. Now, personal finance, right, there's no right or wrong answer there. It's personal to the individual. Now, when I heard the question, the first thing I considered was, what world do we live in, right? We live in a fiat world. As much as we want to talk about crypto, commodity, we live in a world where it's a government issue fiat world. Our mortgages, if you go to the grocery shop, right, you can't pay in most cases in crypto. I can't pay in gold or silver. I pay with pounds, dollars, yens. My mortgage payment comes out each month. The expectation is that I'm paying in the currency of the country in which I live. I wanted to, because I think when people say partially, I think that's like an easy answer, right? I was like, would I take 100% or zero or none? And the reality of that is we live in a fiat world. We need that currency. Now, are there scenarios in which I would forfeit and take 100%? Yes, if I had other passive incomes which were covering my cost of living. So if I had, and I think a lot of the people that you mentioned initially who have sacrificed their salary for Bitcoin, they're earning other forms of income in fiat currency. So I always try to say, let me go to the extreme version. So 100% or none, my answer would be no. And the reason why, and building more on that, is whenever I think about salary sacrifice, I try to think about guaranteed benefits. So whenever I think about salary sacrifice, I think of, is there a tax benefit? So currently today, I sacrifice my salary to put into my pension. The way the world works, HMRC, I get a tax benefit. I pay less tax by putting my money there. If I got it in crypto, I wouldn't get that benefit. Another reason why I do salary sacrifice is free money. So my company, like Shawal mentioned, they give equity of the company. Because they own the equity or the company, they're able to give me company shares at a 15% discount. That is guaranteed free money. No one owns cryptocurrency, so I can't get a discount on cryptocurrency. I'm only able to purchase it at whatever the price is at that particular time. And then the last one is around accessibility. So cryptocurrency is readily available for everyone. So if I receive my salary, I can make the decision to purchase cryptocurrency. It's not the same as if I was investing or working for like a private company where there's no publicly traded stocks or there's no way of me purchasing this. Then maybe there'll be a consideration of, okay, sacrificing my salary to be able to purchase equity or purchase an asset that not everyone can purchase. So those are like the three key benefits. And sacrificing my salary for crypto doesn't meet any of those 3 points. And based on the tax laws in the UK, HMRC have stated that if you earn your salary in crypto, it's just seen as income. So you'll pay full tax on it, you'll pay full national insurance. So I'd rather earn the fiat currency and then purchase as many cryptocurrency as I would want to balance my portfolio. Now, there's only one benefit I can see really in regards to sacrificing your salary, and that's personal emotions, right? Automating it by coming out of your salary means I don't forget it. I can put 5%, 10%, and it automatically comes out my salary. I don't have to, but you can now do that through a brokerage. I can directly purchase Bitcoin outside of it. So me personally, the answer would be no, because there's no guaranteed benefit of me sacrificing my salary in terms of getting crypto or Bitcoin in our scenario. But would I purchase it in my portfolio? Yes, I would have 10% allocation of my net worth in cryptocurrency. And then just the last point of it is, when I was thinking about that 1 and 0 answer, so 100% of my salary in crypto or 0, let's not forget about the crashes that have happened in crypto, right? So I can name some of the crashes that we've seen. So imagine just a simple scenario, your salary was 100K. In what date was this? Let me get some dates out. In December 2017 to December 2018, cryptocurrency dropped by 84%. You tell me who can afford for their salary if it was to come 100% to crash at 84%. Obviously, there's a benefit of it going up, but like I mentioned initially, we live in a fiat world, so I can't tell my mortgage provider, hey, I don't have it. Crypto dropped 84%. I need to feed my family. Like, nah, they're not going to listen to that. So my answer, if we were being yes or no, my answer would be no. And the reason is because I don't see any benefit of it coming out of my salary when I have accessibility to that market after the fact. There's no tax benefit. There's no free cash. My company doesn't own Bitcoin. So if it goes missing, who do I call? Who do you guys call if Bitcoin decides to go to 0 tomorrow? Does Bitcoin have a head office? No, it doesn't.
It's decentralized. It's a blockchain. But no. Exactly. You raised some good points. And this is time for its first of its kind. It's a TFB, tape flight breakdown. So I made that up on the spot. So for those who've been listening, you've heard us say fiat. So what is fiat? So fiat money is a government-issued currency that is not backed by any physical commodity, such as gold, silver, but it's rather backed by the government that issued it. So in the UK, the fiat currency is the Great British Pound Sterling. In the US, it's the US dollar. In Jamaica, it's the Jamaican dollar. In Thailand, it's the Thai baht. So that's what, in Switzerland, it's the Swiss franc. So that's what we refer to when we're saying fiat currency. So thank you, Ollie, for your very extensive, detailed outlining of why you wouldn't take it. And it's good that, we don't all agree on that. And I like the extreme that you chose of a fully backed salary in Bitcoin. And jumping on, or continuing from where you left off, I use some numbers to explain, why I would take a portion of my salary in Bitcoin, not full amount. And I would be, for the reasons mentioned, you want cash flow, you want fiat. The way we transact currently is all fiat. We'll go on to talk about the future and what that could present as opportunities. But right now, in this day and age, we transact in fiat. And in the UK, it's against the pound sterling. So I use some examples, and I've taken specifically from this year because Bitcoin has been quite volatile. Oli mentioned about 2017, 2018 and how the crash. And Bitcoin has a 4-year cycle. So every 4 years, there is some sort of downturn. The question is right now, it's bearish. Is it a super cycle? Or is it the continued Bitcoin 4-year cycle? The hash rates also change every 4 years of the way that it's mined. So Bitcoin halves every 4 years. But let's not digress. If we talk about a modest of, say, sacrificing or converting £1,000 of your salary into Bitcoin. So if you did this at the end of your January paycheck, so £1,000, so from January to February, Bitcoin increased by 34%. So you would have had that £1,000 would be worth 1,340. I've used the last calendar day of each month for my price calculations, and I'll do I'll quickly go through it on a month by month, and then I'll do cumulative. So please just bear with me. I will speak quite quickly. So January to February, Bitcoin increased by 34%. February to March, increased by 32%. March to April, it went down 1.78%. April to May, it went down negative 37%. May to June, negative 3%. June to July, positive 20%. July to August, plus 13%. I'll change positive to plus, sorry for the confusion. August to September, negative 4.7%. September to October, plus 38%, sorry. And October to November, negative 4.3%. So when you look at that cumulative, I should have mentioned the numbers there, but adding on the £1,000 each month based on the percentage increase from the previous month, at the end of February, adding on end of January plus February's £1,000, that would be worth 3,088. So the 2,000 would have grown by 1,088. The following month, it would have been 4,015. Then it would have been down to 3,159. Then up to 4,034 the following month. Then up to 6,041 the following month. Then up to 7,957 the following month. Up again to 8,536. Up to 13,159. And as of the end of November, up to 13,551. So what that represents is there's been from January to end of November a plus 35% that you would have got. So what would have been worth 10,000 in your bank would have been now worth 13,551. And I can tell you that beats inflation. We know inflation's at an dangerous all-time high, which is ridiculous. So that helped me paint the picture of I wouldn't invest my full salary. I would invest a portion of my salary. And that probably would help because outside of my salary, I would probably be investing in crypto anyway. So having the ability to convert some of my my salary into Bitcoin may also help me alleviate transaction fees of having to buy it myself. But then Ollie raised a good point about you're still under UK jurisdiction, UK laws, HMRC. So if Bitcoin was to go up, say 1,000%, would I be obliged to pay capital gains tax? That's another element and factor you have to play in. And that, we don't know because crypto is very much unregulated at the moment. The SEC in the US, the FCA in the UK, and many other regulators are trying to put some regulation around it. What that is, we don't know yet, but we have to wait and see. That may come into play next year, the year after. But it made me think about, okay, from this year alone's performance, would I want to? And yeah, I probably would want to. And if we went back to the example of January 2017 to January 2018 to now, I haven't got the numbers, but that increase is significantly higher than the numbers I shared with you. So it's something that, it's interesting. And I guess we could we could see what happens in the future.
Yeah. No, I was actually going to, some really good takes. And I think Olu's take was fantastic because, I as I mentioned before, I looked at it from what I would personally do. But I also took a step back and thought, if you tried to have this as a discussion amongst people that understand the salary today and they work, right? And I think it'd be very difficult to influence and persuade because ultimately what we're talking about is changing the nature of how a salary works. It's a fixed payment every 2 to 4 weeks that people expect, tied to your contracted hours. And then after the fact, which you mentioned, Olu, if you want to invest in Bitcoin, then that could be an option. A couple of the things that came to mind is one, Daniel, as you was going through those performance swings, I was thinking, is it in the best interest of an employer to pay their employees part in Bitcoin? Can you imagine employees sitting at their desk and the markets are going up and down? How productive do you think they'll be? And I even think about a time where in the company I work with, there was a time where the share price was moving closer to an all-time high. The company decided to take it off their home dashboard because they noticed that people were actually too vested into what was happening in the market. So that's actually a perspective also to consider, right? I know we're having the wider discussion, but I think ultimately the other thing I wanted to add here is that a lot of this is based on where you are in the cycle of your career and life. If you was at the point of retiring, you wouldn't take any of your money in Bitcoin because you're looking for a set guaranteed return. We're at a stage where a lot of us have a high appetite to invest. So we actually see it as something that could make sense because we believe that there's a risk, but if it was to go down or up, it wouldn't actually impact our livelihood so much. So But yeah, it's a very interesting discussion because it talks about changing the nature of how a salary works, which is a fixed amount of money that you expect to receive. And I think Olu's point on it going down, the idea of your salary decreasing has never entered any of our minds.
I think there'd be
Ever.
like a civil war if that was
Can you imagine?
to happen in the world.
Imagine
Yeah.
84%.
This year, you're going to get paid 20% less than last year. Imagine the reaction. So it's
Yeah.
it's
and that's why I think I try to take it from a situation of like everything that Daniel said highlights the importance of investing in my mind. Like it is, but I'm trying to say, okay, what is the benefit of it coming out of my salary? And I need to get something guaranteed for it to come out of my salary. Like it can't be like, I think Daniel mentioned one other benefit I didn't consider. Maybe you save on brokerage fees. If it comes out of your salary, maybe your employer covers that. But again, I want to be able to, I need to get something free, which is tax benefit, free money. If now we're having a conversation of you pay me 100K in fiat or you pay me 200K in Bitcoin, now that's a completely different conversation. I see some sort of free money there, right? But if it's the same number, unfortunately for me, I would rather control it in terms of investing myself and deciding how much of my portfolio I'd like to put there. I think that's the key thing. But I think what Daniel mentioned is just really the importance of investing and having a portion in crypto for sure.
The last thing I'll just add is just I think we need to see more use cases for cryptocurrencies in general, how you can use it, how you can leverage it, how you can earn. I mean, there are ways to earn money off your crypto, but the more use cases that come forward, I think would definitely increase the appetite to getting involved in cryptocurrency.
That's a conversation I want to have with Daniel, because this is because I know you, and maybe we're jumping a little bit forward in terms of what the future of this is. But would you? I'm struggling.
So let's jump into it right now.
Yeah, I'm
Daniel's ready.
struggling. I'm struggling.
Me strapped. Go on.
So I think Daniel mentioned something in regards to what fiat currency is. There's no intrinsic value in fiat currency, similar to what people can quote unquote say with digital currency. There's no intrinsic value like gold. There's a material that we can dig or have. Now, my problem with digital currency is the space that we're at right now is very speculative, and people are not using it as a peer-to-peer transaction currency. People are more using it as, I'm going to store this with a speculating that in the future it's going to be worth more. And I struggle to see a time that we're, for multiple reasons, but I struggle to see a time where we're going to be just trading in Bitcoin, where it's like, okay, let me just pay everything in Bitcoin, like go to the grocery, pay in Bitcoin, because everyone is right now in a point of, I'm buying it as an asset to hopefully for it to grow in the future, which means I'm not spending it. And then more importantly, there's no one that we can contact because it's decentralized, like, which is the benefit of it. If something goes wrong, if there's any question, there's no headquarter for me to call. So like, what do you see in that, Ellison? Do you ever think we're going to reach a point where we're transacting fully in cryptocurrency?
Daniel, finish him. Go on, Daniel. This is your chance.
No. I'm not going to finish it because I agree to a lot of what Olu's saying, because right now it's used as a store of value. It's not used as a peer-to-peer system, as which the white paper of Satoshi Nakamoto states that it's a peer-to-peer network. And when you look on, maybe, and to your point, Olu, maybe in the next couple of years we won't see Bitcoin used as a legal tender to buy goods. Well, not in the UK, but in Venezuela it's happening. But as we enter the metaverse, and as we explored that in greater detail a few episodes ago, maybe there'll be a use case for cryptocurrencies in the metaverse. So when you think about the metaverse, when you're going to be transacting, because I don't know if you heard, well, we shared it in our chat that Snoop Dogg has his own he's in the metaverse.
Replicating in the metaverse.
Yeah. He's building his own house in the metaverse. He's going to have private parties. You can trade NFTs and all of those things. To be able to transact in the metaverse, you'll need to use some form of cryptocurrency. So maybe the cryptocurrency is going to have more value in the metaverse than in our physical Earth. But then also, go on, Sophie.
And just to plug in, we have all heard of companies. I think there have been cases. It's not wide cases, but there have been cases in pockets where people are offering, I think, real estate Elon Musk is talking about things in Tesla where you can actually pay for these products and services with cryptocurrency. So when you say, Dan, you mentioned like it's just not a wide use case, but there are
Not yet. Not
But
yet.
Daniel,
not yet.
P,
So
the reason why
Dan,
is,
to
let's
your
take,
point,
for example, you had £1,000 worth of, or £100,000 of Bitcoin right now. Would you use that on a Tesla, or would you save it thinking that the value is going to go up in the future?
yeah, but that's because where we are right now, and that's also based on. But to answer, so your question is more. You was actually originally saying you don't see how this could actually be something which is traded in the future.
No, I
Which I
don't
think-
see it being used as a currency. So I don't see it readily used like how we
Transactional.
use notes in terms of transactions, where I'm like, here, P, here's £5 for whatever service or whatever. I don't see people the way I'm seeing the market.
You're in the wrong
operate
circle.
right now.
You're in the wrong circle. You're in the wrong
Yeah,
circle.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not. Maybe we're in the
Yeah,
wrong
yeah.
circle, but even
No, it's true.
if in fact it's factual, because they've actually said the majority of the wealth in Bitcoin is actually held by people that have never sold and are not planning to sell. So that's statistically is proven that a
Hold on.
lot of the people,
This is yeah. Go ahead. So go.
Yeah.
Go. Ollie, finish.
a
I'll
lot
let
of
you
people
know.
that own Bitcoin and these cryptocurrencies are hold forever. They're not trying to transact in it. So that's what the data shows.
Hold forever based on the information they have today. But let's also remember that we're so early in this entire digital currency space. This is why I'm saying the use cases will need to come through for us to understand what we can do. I think today's view from maybe the top investors is hold. It's a great hedge against inflation and other pieces. But at a later stage, I do think there will be a very clear case as to how you could actually trade. That's just my belief.
Yeah,
Based on
I
how this is evolving.
I see as gold. Unfortunately, I see it like gold, right? Like gold is, they say gold, Bitcoin is the crypto version of gold, right? We never get to a place where people are now going to be just trading gold or using gold for meaningless transactions. You're going to always use a fiat. Now, do I believe fiat currency is going to be the form that we have where it's physical? No, I do believe the use case of peer-to-peer transactions is going to be, but I honestly feel like whatever currency that we're using on a day-to-day basis will be always backed by some sort of government. It won't be decentralized. That's my view.
That's a good point, because when you talk about regulated, centralized governments and everything, governments don't like cryptocurrency because it's not regulated. There's no central authority. There's no regulatory body. It's not owned by anyone, and that's their fear. Is that crypto, in the whole sense, would be dominating and affecting central banks. It will then affect governments. It will then affect interest rates and the whole the whole of a country's economics. And that's the problem they have. Right now, China are creating the digital yuan. You heard earlier this year, you heard China banned crypto completely from the country. You then heard a month later, China banned crypto mining. Over 70% of crypto mining was done in China. But the market wasn't negatively impacted. Actually, the prices increased within 90 days of Bitcoin. But I say that because China don't want the country that they are. They don't want anything to interfere with their digital currency. They probably want to use it as some sort of controlling mechanism. And it was mentioned that in the Winter Olympics, which happen in February next year, they're going to release the initial trial of the digital one, of using it as transactional. There are many other countries that have developed a CBDC. CBDC is a central bank digital currency. Nigeria actually created one and released it in October this year. They have the e-Naira, which is 1-to-1 with the physical Naira. Sweden actually thought about doing this last year, and many other countries have thought about creating a digital currency. The UK and the UK Bank of England are in the investigation stages, but their investigation stage is very long. It's up until like the next another 2 years. The ECB, the president of the ECB, Christine Lagarde, who was the former French president, she's also looking at digital currencies for the ECB as well. But when you think about long term, I don't think central banks, I don't think governments are going to be for it. They want to regulate it, they want to control it. But then when you think about the future in a parallel universe, say the metaverse, and how the use cases in the metaverse and what they can be would be to socialize, to work, to transact, to play, and to create. And you'd also have horizontal worlds in the metaverse, which you can also interact with in a horizontal layer where you would also have ownership, you would have payments, communication, and history. So things like Discord, which exists now, can be in the metaverse. Then you've got games like Roblox, and you've got other things, Axie Infinity, which is gaming on the in the metaverse as well. So I think when we think about the future, and to be honest, I don't think we can fully comprehend the opportunities the metaverse is going to bring. So our conversation now is really going to be, we're probably not even going to touch the tip of the iceberg when we reach that. We're thinking, well, our minds weren't really open enough to even think what opportunities there could have been. This could be just a tiny portion of what presents itself in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time. And it's just, I can't comprehend it. We don't know what direction it's going to go. I think when, thinking about in an institutionalized or in the financial markets, when banks, when financial institutions that have huge amounts of money, crypto now is at 2.2, 2.3, close to 3 trillion market cap by asset class. For us to get to 10 trillion by 10 trillion industry or asset class, the real money needs to come from institutions. It needs to come from the tier one, the main big banks, US banks, UK banks, European banks. Once they do that, that shows there's some sort of adoption. There's some sort of you're standing by it, you're condoning, what's the word I'm looking for? You're advocating for it.
You're advocating, yes.
Yeah. And once that's done, I think then people really see the prices shoot up astronomically.
For sure. I think it's gonna be a combination of what you're discussing. I do believe governments will make their own version of digital currency, which will be what we class as fiat currency today, backed by the government. And then people will use that to transact in cryptocurrencies, which will be used for metaverse, etc. Or it'll be used, or people will purchase Bitcoin, Ethereum, where it's more of the speculative element. But what I like about this, and we laughed about it in the previous episode, is I'm a traditional investor. So I'm just looking at the technology. I'm just looking at the technology that's going to feed all of it. Because let's be honest, like Daniel said, there's no way of us guessing what the future is. So I think it's multiple things where it's, okay, make sure 5-10% of my portfolio is in crypto, making sure XYZ, making sure I invest in the technology, which should last the whole roller coaster. But there's no way I'll take 100% of my salary on crypto. Who do I call if it goes to zero? Who do I call?
That's why you need to have a ledger yourself. You need to have your own private ledger where you can have, you have.
And I lose my password.
If
I lose my
it
password.
Let me ask you a question. Just a question. If it goes to zero, who are you calling anyway? Who's talking to you about what? What are they going to explain to you?
It's the same, but if you're here, exactly. If a stock goes to zero, if your Facebook goes to zero.
See, this is what people make. People make this mistake and compare that. If a company goes bankrupt, it goes through a bad debt collection element where the assets in which the company owns.
Guys,
but you're not getting jacked.
Let's not please talk about it. It's not the same.
But you're not getting jacked.
No,
you're not getting a penny. You're not getting a penny.
That assumption, where it's like, oh, what if I invest zero, whatever, etc. No, there's a list. You're a shareholder. You own. It's just you own the assets of the company, and then they divide it. Maybe you might not get the same value. It's completely different from crypto going to zero. Same with currencies. If let's be honest, if the pound, the US dollar completely crashes and goes, we got bigger problems than bigger problems than the money. It must be the end of the world. There's a saying that when you go to Vegas,
that's ironic because it's worth it. It has no value.
There's a saying that when you go to Vegas and places, the house always wins. And let's not get this twisted. The US government, the Bank of England are not going to lose. No matter what.
Listen, Olu is old school. Old school.
Yo.
No, you raise a good point, because when you think about even...
I can see this guy on the hotline when the Bitcoin goes to zero trying to call, being told to wait for 5 minutes. He's on that music. You know the music that plays in the background?
Who do I call? You know who I'm calling? I'm calling Daniel Johnson. That's who I'm calling. I'm like, Daniel.
The number you've called is not in service.
Daniel would have liquidated a week before.
but that all comes. But that thing is, that all comes down to part of your decision to take it in part salary is part of you understanding the risks, right? So it encompasses your decision. So it's a case of you can't then say, oh, it's gone to zero. Who I now call? You knew that before you took the decision. So it's just the nature of how it works, right? And are you for it and are you against it? But yeah, Daniel, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say in terms of like the currency falling, even in the past week, I think the Turkish lira dropped 100 basis points, and it's the lowest it's been in 38 years, and that's crazy. And that's the thing that was directed by the president. But when you think about Olu's point about if Bitcoin went to zero, we saw, was it last month or the month before, that someone created a Squid Game token, and people bought it. It went up, and then they ran off with about $2 million. And that's how scary this industry is, because anyone can create a token. You can, create a white paper, make a website, make it look nice, say it's a community project or whatever what it's for, create the token, list it, and people can buy it. And then people can do pump and dump. And that's the scary thing, because of cases like that. People want it to be more regulated because of the risks associated to it. Because a lot of young people who don't fully understand investing are sometimes not even investing their own money. They're taking out loans. There was one case, I think we even spoke about, that guy who took out a 25k loan when GameStop was crazy, and then he was using some sort of derivative. So derivatives, I think he was doing what was he doing? Was his contract for difference, and he got screwed over.
There was a kid that committed suicide based on how much he owed. Yeah, I'm not sure
because of his margin. Because his margin, no, that's a different guy, but it's because of his margin call. Yeah,
exactly.
That's the Great Depression 2.0. Right, gearing up,
and that's what the government is trying to. A lot of people think, okay, and this is the balance that I always have: is how do you create a fair market which allows people to grow wealth, and how do you protect people from Great Depression? And
answers cryptocurrency.
We believe that is the case, right?
Yeah, it's an open financial system.
Answers cryptocurrency.
We'll see.
No, but
you know what's interesting? Just to circle back, I do find it interesting how Olu said, if the pound or the dollar went to zero, we've got some big problems, right? And I was just thinking to myself, well, we all know that. No, it's just the way he said it, because he was like, we
got bigger issues than.
But I do find it interesting how in you saying that, we all know that it has no intrinsic value, and the value that money has is the value that we give it. We believe it. We trades that gives it belief that it has value. So in actual fact, I was just thinking it's a bit like a theory. If it went to zero, it's not worth anything anyway.
Just to build on that point, I think with Bitcoin, and we've spoken about it before, and I think in the examples that Daniel and Oliver have given, you've seen the roller coaster of how it goes up and down. But at the points where Bitcoin, if you think back to 2017, which they kind of categorize as a crypto winter because of how the whole market got wiped out, at that point, Bitcoin lost almost 90% of its value, but it hit a floor price. And that floor price was almost, you could say, the new bottom. And I think at these points where it's lost a considerable amount of value, there's still been a value that's been held at a few $1,000s at some point, but that still becomes the bottom. So I think if it was ever going to go to zero, maybe it's famous last words, but if it was ever going to go to zero, then it probably would have gone to zero at certain points. And I think now the state that it's in, the fact that countries are adopting it, the examples that Daniel gave up front about mayors of large cities like New York saying, yeah, I'll take my salary in it, I think it's gone beyond the point of hitting zero. And building on P's point, I think if everyone sees it as a value play, then we've already hit the floor with it. And I don't think it's got beyond the stage of hitting zero. And if the adoption can only go one way, think the fact that we're having these conversations, Daniel gave these examples, it's the genie's already out the bottle. I can't imagine it going backwards anymore. And if that's the case, then there's only one direction that this will move, of course, with roller coasters up and down along the way, which is why actually listening to this convo, I've learned a lot myself, and I'm just even more excited. Actually, I think between now and 2030, it's going to be a crazy ride, but it'll be exciting to be part of it. Of course, in an educated and risk managed way.
And you mentioned something about that. And a lot of crypto enthusiasts actually like the crypto winters, because what that does is eliminates those who are just here for the ride of creating all-time highs and aren't really for the long term. It takes them out and has the people that are actually serious about Bitcoin in it.
Yeah. Sure.
This is traditional. The traditional.
You mentioned something in regards to the bottom.
Yeah.
And I totally agree that Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, peer-to-peer digital transaction is here to stay forever.
Mm-hmm.
But if we think about stuff like Bitcoin, the point in which Bitcoin will go to zero is only there's only one thing that will make Bitcoin go to zero.
Yeah.
If there's an
Elon Musk.
ability, not even not even Elon Musk. If there's technically, because the technology that stands on Bitcoin is the fact that you've got this blockchain logbook, and the moment that is ever hacked or is able to make a copy or duplicate Bitcoin,
It can't. It can't.
No.
It can't. It's
I'm
impossible.
saying we say technology-wise, it hasn't happened today. I'm just saying if
It
that was
can't.
to
It
happen,
can't be done. The way it's been created, it can't be done. Though.
no. But
Let
I'm
him land.
saying,
Let him land.
If that
I'll
happens,
let Ollie finish your point.
all
Yeah,
I'm
go
saying
ahead.
is we're saying yes, Daniel, I agree with that. It hasn't happened the way it's created, but I'm saying that's the only scenario that will make
Where you see
Bitcoin zero.
tanking.
Like it doesn't exist anymore. The day that ever happens, the technology behind it and the way it was coded hits zero. And Daniel, I agree, it hasn't happened. We hope it doesn't happen, and it was written away. But hey, tell that to all hackers that have done something for the first time.
I love the fact that Ollie's got like the classic fundamental perspective, and even in the words that you use, the fact that you use the word logbook.
But I'm saying this.
Classic.
But I'm also saying this I'm saying this from a person, so I want to be transparent. I'm saying this from a person that is invested in crypto.
Yeah.
So I have, even though I'm a traditional investor, I do see the benefit, and I have a small portion, which I'm trying to grow to like 5-10% of my portfolio in crypto. But I also understand the risk. So I would never say all money in. 5-10%.
Just one last comment before we hand it back to Daniel. If anyone wants to see Ollie's portfolio, he's got a logbook that he uses to track.
I still use pen and paper. There's no way they're hacking me.
Or the leather-bound, dusty notebooks that you keep in your pocket everywhere.
Daniel,
P, were you going to say something? Sorry.
No, I'm going to say anything we haven't covered actually on this.
No. I think we covered everything that I wanted us to discuss in this episode, and probably a bit more. And I was going to bring up a few things, but that would be digressing, and that can be a future potential episode, which is around the use of the technology behind it, like blockchain, how that could be used in accountancy. So double entry, or preventing double entry or triple entry, even in property when you're doing the legalities of signing documents. It takes like 3 to 4 weeks, 5 weeks to do all the bits behind it. How about if lawyers and solicitors were able to do something on the blockchain? It's immediately done, transacted, signed, and sent across. It's all publicly available as an open ledger. Nothing can be done that's scrupulous or nefarious. I think blockchain opens a lot of potential opportunities in other areas other than crypto as well. But yeah, I think we've covered anything. And for all the listeners, I hope this has been an enlightening episode for you on crypto, what our sort of personal view on it is, especially if there was the option of being able to be paid partially in Bitcoin. We don't know what the future holds. We may not be years away from that. We could be many years away from that. But we have to wait and see how the crypto economy grows and the ways companies adopt it. There are a few companies who pay their employees in Bitcoin or partially in Bitcoin, not in the UK, but in the US. And there are many other payment providers who accept Bitcoin, like PayPal and Visa. So before we close, has anyone got anything that they'd like to say and their final remarks?
Yeah, I think maybe we can just go around and just share. I personally just want to say I thank each and every one of our listeners this year, and the ones that have been with us from the very beginning. We wouldn't be able to continue without you guys. We love each and every one of you. So thank you for sticking with us again this year. We hope we just continue to work and bring you interesting topics to debate for many more years to come. So thank you.
No, just also echoing P's words. I think a big thank you to the listeners. I actually want to do a big thank you to you guys. We've increased the number of episodes that we're doing. We've got takeaways. We've got now interviews now set up, and we've got a very exciting lineup for next year. But no, just it's a pleasure to do this with all of you guys. I think I learn something every episode. So just a big thank you to you, and then of course Thank you to Nandi, our super producer, who puts together all the clips and everything. And then, of course, the listeners. Echoing P's words, we wouldn't be here without you. So just a big thank you from me to all of you guys.
Yeah, I will echo exactly what P and Shua said. I think number one, thank you is for the listeners. We wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you. I always love when we get feedback on sort of the episodes, some of the content, what people would like to listen. So in 2022, like continue sending us your feedback, topics you would like to hear. We're here to serve you guys with the content that we deliver. And then second, thank you is obviously Nandi with everything that happens in the background and making this possible. I think 2021 has been easier based on that. And also Daniel with everything you do with the social media, that has made it a lot easier. And then lastly is really thank you three guys, man. I think this podcast, I just seen so much growth. Growth in how we take message, deliver message, and continuously grow ourselves to learn, right? Some of these topics were not the experts, right? But we go away every week and do our research, speak to people, and go deep into these conversations. I know we banter a lot, go back and forth at each other, but much love to you guys. I wouldn't want to do this with any other people than you guys. I'm saying that until the contract comes in and the big bag comes in.
If anyone's listening and you want to send that contract, make sure that contract's in the logbook. Otherwise, Ollie's not looking at it.
What is wrong with you?
Firstly, I'd like to thank me because without me, there wouldn't be no podcast. Or wouldn't be talk. No. Jokes aside, no. I don't want to take or to deliberate too long or to reiterate what everyone said. But thank you all, the three of you. Thank you, Nandi, and thank you to our faithful listeners and also all new listeners that join every week. We appreciate you. We appreciate the value that you bring to us and also the feedback that you give us. Whether it's constructive or positive, we take it on board and really do take that to each episode. So thank you all, and we wish you and your families and your loved ones a very happy, safe, healthy festive period. You know, with the pandemic at the moment and with different countries adopting different restrictions, we hope you're able to celebrate with your loved ones in some capacity. So please do stay safe, do stay healthy, do look after one another, and we look forward to welcoming you back into the new year. Hopefully to bringing you continued value and in more value and with some new things on the horizon. So without further ado, stay safe and God bless, and see you in 2022. And hopefully that's not 2020 TOO, as in a repeat of 2020, but it's a 2020 TWO. So stay well, God bless, peace.
Take off, take flight.